Yep, film up. Welcome everyone to the Film Vault. That's Anderson. I'm Brian Bishop. We're your hosts for today. Top 5 actors who can play good and evil, heroes and villains. Anderson called them switch hitters last time. Not bad. Maybe a connotation that we didn't intend, but either way,
What?
heroes and villains
What did you just say?
encapsulated by the same actors.
Connotation that we're doing to 10? What was
Oh,
that?
sorry, connotation that we didn't intend.
Not in 10. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it works fine for like when we're talking back and forth and we're in the middle of it. Yeah, this is a good switch hitter over here. But I think in print or just having in the title might be a little confusing. People are like, talking about baseball, talking about guys and girls that swing both ways. What's happening here? So
We'll
yeah,
not do that.
we
Plus,
won't.
Fanflickssions of Longlegs was seen by us.
Was
We were assigned to film.
the governor.
Did you see Sing Sing?
I did not. I did not see Sing Sing. Well, you got to jump on that. That's limited right now. And let me tell you, when you have a kid and that kid breaks an appendage out of the fucking blue and you're not prepared for it, it sucks. It sucks up a lot of unintended time.
Atticus broke his dick.
He did not break his penis. No, right? He's a 7-year-old. Let's try and keep that discussion. Like
I didn't want to go there.
not even away from the show, like not in the show, not parallel to the show. Let's just not.
What happened? What happened to the boy? Is the boy okay?
Yeah, he's okay. He's pretty bummed. He broke his arm, his forearm, and they had to put a cast on him, like almost up to his shoulder. That's how they do it.
Ooh.
They said it would have been surgery if he was older, but since he's got the growth plate and there's a lot of room for healing and growing, he can just get away with the cast. But we're going to be leaving town a week from yesterday, and we're going to be like humid jungle like setting.
He's gonna love that.
Sand and ocean, and the first thing they say is, "Do not get this wet. Do not go to the beach." And I'm like, buddy, so I'm going to be doing a lot of fishing on the dock with a boy, I guess, which is not my thing. But yeah, it's funny because he plays hockey and karate, and
Ooh, look at the forearm checks.
he hikes, and like with me, and it happened on Sunday. I think, yeah, Sunday it happened. And we were so active that day, Brian. We were doing so many things. We were like on trails when we were like looking at open houses with giant backyards that we were scaling like mountainsides and whatnot.
Were you adventuring?
Adventuring, yeah. And then the way he broke it, we were just like down in the backyard of this beautiful open house that I was previewing for an out-of-state client. And he was just standing there in the backyard talking about how beautiful it was. And he was all peaceful and he was like in one of his best moods. He was just being like my little assistant and great, and we're having a great day. And then he turned to his side and slipped over like a knee-high rock. It was like a boulder, like in the and he just kind of fell awkwardly on his side and sprang up, just screaming, "I think I broke my arm." And he was crying, and it was the worst I've ever felt for him. I think it was.
How'd
bad.
the showing go? Did you sell the house?
I haven't even sent that video to my client yet. I got to go over that with her at a later date. But yeah, I mean, I got him out of there, and like slowly but surely, I thought that he'd come. I thought it was one of those things where like his arm kind of hurt and like he pinched it. I thought he hit his funny bone, but it turned out to be. I didn't even get him all the way home. I ended up taking him to the hospital on the way home, and the wife met us there. We had the dog with us. It was a whole thing. Yeah.
How long did you wait at the hospital?
Wasn't too bad. It was like maybe 45 minutes before they had him in there x-rayed and whatnot. And it was funny because this pain started at 10 and then we're about 10 minutes from it happening and it went down to a 9. He was very accurate. By the time we got to the hospital, it was at about a 7, but he was still in a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And then yesterday we had to, so they put a splint on it. And then yesterday they had to actually do the cast part. So it was like, because urgent care doesn't set it so the doctor had to set it. And oh man,
was that painful?
It was really, really difficult having the doctor take, the still moldable cast and put it on his knee and kind of slowly bend it into place. And that poor kid, man, I was doing everything I could to distract him from the pain and just talking to him about, various things and get his mind off it. But it was just 3 very excruciating, slow minutes of torture for that kid. And man, it was tough as a dad. Instinctually, I wanted to punch the doctor right in the face. I'm like, stop hurting my kid.
Why are you hurting my child?
Yeah. And he was such a good doctor. Obviously, I didn't do anything of the sort. I don't think he even could feel that energy from me. The doctor, that is. But, it's weird. Like this primal part of your brain is like, stop hurting this innocent boy.
Oh my God.
And but
you're gallivanting after this.
Well, I mean, we can't. We're actually, ironically, I don't know if it's ironic, but we're the main reason why we're doing this trip is Jillian's parents, particularly her dad, are getting up there in age, and we had a similar little out of town experience last summer, and Jillian decided she wanted to do it, and this could be, like one last time while her dad's well enough to travel. And I'm gonna be like Mr. Caretaker, getting her dad from wheelchair to bed to walker to like an outdoors. I'm gonna be like Mr. Caretaker, and now I got Atticus as well too. I got to be Mr. Caretaker.
My
So
God.
yeah, and Atticus can't help me with the caretaker. All right, enough of that. A little less than 3 weeks from now, we
Yes.
are going to be at the beautiful TCL Chinese theaters doing our third ever live film vault, possibly our last. You never
Oh, we'll
know.
see.
You never know.
They
And
might ban us after we have so much fun.
tickets are available right now. There should be a link in the show notes. All you have to do is just scroll down a little bit or up, depending on how you have your phone set up, and click on that link. And tickets are $25 for general admission. It's gonna be a 2-hour show. Doors are at 4. Our doors are at 3:30. The show is from 4 to 6 on Sunday, August 4th at the TCL Chinese Theaters. We're gonna be doing top 5 absurd action scenes, which we're going to be showing on the big screen, projecting on the actual movie theater screen. It's going to be in the movie theater. Drinks will be available, popcorn, the whole deal. And we're going to be up on stage like we did it last time. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you're coming to the show, you can pre-order a merch pack, which is only $40. We're barely even making this worth our while with all the time and energy that will be put into actually organizing the merch. But you get a t-shirt, very good quality t-shirt with the new logo on it, a trucker's hat with the new logo on it, as well as a reusable red Solo cup that you can use again and again and again and again and again. $40 for all 3 of those things. We really kept the price down there for you because we're not going to be shipping these. So this is in-person stuff.
Hand delivered. Number one, any solo cup is a reusable solo cup. Let's be honest. Number two, Avery, who's not here today, has been so excited about this new logo. He added it to our group text.
It's true. He's already put it on the group text, so now we see it all the time. But yeah, this is also the coming out party for our new branding logo. It sounds douchey saying that, but yeah, that's what it is. It's we're coming up with
We're debuting a new logo.
Debuting our new logo, and also slathering it on merch that you can get if you're at the live show. Also, if you're coming to the live show, there is going to be a giveaway, not one but 2. It looks like. Yeah. So TCL, our friends over at TCL have been kind enough to make available a 98-inch, I believe.
That's
I'm
mind-blowing.
98-inch TCL TV. Someone at the show will win that. And then also our friend Tim Judd and his son is also going to be coming out. So Tim and Oliver will both be there. I don't think I've met him. And Tim Judd is also making one of his very, very unique, one-of-a-kind camera lights available.
The one-of-a-kind that you and I both have?
Well, no, they're all different, right?
I know.
And we have the projectors. What he's offering up is really cool. It's like a wooden hand holding a little Super 8 camera. Like a Super 8 camera, and then he wires it, and then there's a light bulb on top, and this thing looks pretty slick. It's pretty cool.
Pretty tight. I've gotten plenty of compliments on that from visitors to the home. Like, hey, that thing's pretty cool. Goddamn right it is.
2 separate giveaways if you're at the show, which is pretty exciting. And then also, here's the final announcement about our big August 4th show.
This is what was alluded to last week.
Yes. If you cannot make it, if you're out of town or out of state or even in town, but it just doesn't work for you for whatever reason, we are making it available. And after thinking about it quite a bit and going back and forth, Avery and Bryan came up with, I think, a very good plan. Rather than making it like a la carte or, like you can purchase it here. If you're, I should say $20 general admission tickets. They're $20 if you're already a Patreon. Yes. Now, if you're at the $10 or the watch along level or above, even if it's just for the 1 month, if you're at $10 in August, the $10 or above level in August, you will get a link to the live show as it happens, and you'll also be able to access that afterwards as well as all of our watch alongs before that. So it's quite the value. $10 for the month of August. If you level up to that, you will get access to the live show as it happens. Rand, my good friend Rand, who I've worked with quite a bit, he does this for a living. He does video. He produces documentaries, directs documentary. He's a professional. He's been wanting to do something with us for a long time. He's also a listener. He's going to be running the live camera. He's also going to be doing a little documentary behind the scenes thing. But the live video is going to be at the very minimum, like a static shot of the stage of us. You'll get the you'll be able to see the clips that we're running. You'll be a part of it from afar, and you can get that if you're at the $10 or above level. So if you're at $5,
Will we? Will
level
we?
up for
Sorry.
1 month and you can
Will,
get all that.
will we be able to know? Obviously, probably not on stage, but will Rand to be able to know how many people are tuning in at the time?
Yeah, I think we're going to do it quite similarly to how we do the watch along.
Nice.
I think we might even be able to have comments and whatnot on the YouTube.
What if they're just scrolling behind us? Oh, live comments.
Yeah, so I think that Rand might also like have a mic, and we're still working out the details, but I think Rand will be facilitated with a mic, so he'll not only be running the gear, but he'll be able to field some questions, perhaps. Of course, Florence is going to be there. Florence will have a segment with us up there, doing probably one round of red light, green light. Florence also has offered, she's going to be for the VIP, $75. We have a couple of those tickets left, just a couple, very, very few. But she is going to be bringing like cookies and like snacks and stuff
Oh,
go along with the beer that Brian's providing.
that's
And then
awfully nice.
she also wants to be checking people in. I'm like, so she might be the one who actually checks you in at the door because we're gonna have a door list. You buy a ticket, what happens is you get added to the door list, the master door list. And it's that simple. We're just keeping it simple, down to earth, just us. It's just the Film Vault family, essentially, right? We're not bringing in these third parties that we have to deal with, Eventbrite and all that stuff. It's just you buy the tickets through PayPal or Venmo, and you get added to the master list, and you will have your name and possibly a +1 if you buy 2 tickets or more. And it's that simple. And you come to the event, and Florence checks you off, gives you a bracelet. You're in the event. So it's gonna be a really, really good time, a really fun time. August 4th, doors at 3:30. Still working out the details. I think for the pre-party, the $75 ticket where you get the beer and the Florence and the Bryan and the Avery and everyone will be up there. All the people involved with the show will be
The full experience.
yeah, that's $75 and only a few of those left. And I think we're going to kick that off around 2:30.
I'll be there the previous night just in case.
And then my challenge is going to be not to drink too many drinks at the pre-party because I don't want to be, a mess up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Believe me, I'm hard enough to understand without any beers.
Exactly. So we're going to probably be chugging waters. I might have one and then I'll have a couple beers during the actual show. All right. So exciting stuff. We're doing all sorts of stuff behind the scenes and trying to make this the best event we possibly can. We're real fortunate to have our friends over at the TCL Chinese Theaters helping us with all of this, and it's going to be a very memorable night. Yeah. All right.
It's going to be awesome. Hope to see you all there. Thanks to everyone who's bought tickets so far. And for everyone else, hope to see you there.
Yeah, get the tickets now. Get those tickets now. It always makes me feel very happy whenever my phone chimes. I'm like, all right, cool. Somebody else is coming. All right, nice. Look at. Oh, and a lot of times it's like names that I recognize. I'm like, hell yeah, they're coming.
We should. Is Atticus going to be there? Can we sign his cast?
I don't think Atticus will be there.
Oh,
it's an R-rated show.
That's a good point. Yeah. Will he be there for the pre-party?
We've already talked about his dick on this show.
Oh, I guess yeah, we have to broach that subject.
Oh, terrible. Thank God that we're thank God we're a modest show, a moderate show, a smaller smaller size show. Because I don't like the idea of that being out there.
Well, we didn't really just anyway. Hey, are you gonna have time to see Sing Sing before we talk again? Because I can save it. It's worth talking about.
Possibly. Okay. I mean, I can try, but it's not really playing. It's only playing next to you, and
come on down.
I will be seeing Twisters, and we'll be flickfesting that next week. All right, so you want to get to it? Let's get to it.
Let's dive in. Well, what did the people see, Anderson? You're privy.
A lot of talking.
You're privy to the list.
Yeah. So as Brian already mentioned, Avery is not here, so I'll be doing the part of Avery on today's program.
Thank God.
Here's a little Fanflickssions, starting with Cody Horton on Facebook. He saw Longlegs, one of my most anticipated of the year, and my socks were in the theater next door by the end. They flew off. Oz Perkins goes over his skis with the ending, but Blair Underwood and Micah Monroe, God, I'm bad with names, are great, and Nick Cage delivers one of the most harrowing and disturbing performances I think I've ever seen. If this were at Cannes, he would have received a 400-minute standing ovation. Probably at least half of that.
That's not saying much.
Beesh24 on Instagram. Longlegs. The movie is very good. Definitely up there in the serial killer pantheon. While homage is paid to many that come before it, Longlegs manages to keep you very engaged and haunted. Nicolas Cage gave us Nick Cage, just teetering on too much, and Micah, how am I saying that? Micah Monroe.
I say Micah.
Maika Monroe was almost unrecognizable to me in her fantastic performance. Awesome cinematography and score. If you're into Seven, Silence of the Lambs, or the doc Paradise Lost, this is right up your alley. I don't know about I get the first two, but I don't know about Paradise Lost. Maybe guys with all the Satan stuff.
Weird things happening. Yeah, exactly. Satanic things happening to kids in the woods.
Jason Runnion, what's up, buddy? Pittsburgh. On X, Jason Runnion on Twitter, I should say. Maxine, I really enjoyed it. However, it was my least favorite of the trilogy. I found the end to be predictable and cliche, but enjoyed the character. Also, the nostalgia for the 89s was fun. For the 80s, I think is what he meant. G- Giancarlo Esposito was fantastic. The scariest part was her lack of eyebrows. Matthew
Well, that's me again.
Matthew Son on Facebook. Fly Me to the Moon, great cast, and it has a lot of potential to be really good, but it was just all right. It had some down with love vibes, overall enjoyable, but could have been elevated in the right hands. And then we got Chris Wolfing on Facebook. Isn't he like a character on Stern? Chris Wolfing?
I don't know who that is.
A Quiet Place, day one. I wished they would have continued the story that takes place after part two instead of a prequel. The movie was okay, but not as great as the first and second. The cat did some of the best cat acting since Milo and Otis. This is where Anderson will say he does not care for Milo and Otis due to the treatment of animals during the making of the film. Fun fact, Chris, just now in this very moment, I had that exact thought as I read Milo and Otis in your text here. I had that thought. It ran through my mind, and then I realized that I've said it too much on the show, and then I went back and forth very quickly, thinking, should I bring it up? Should I not? And I decided on not before I even got to this is where Anderson will say. But now you've done it for me, so everything is moot. And finally, better Brian McCulley. What's up? McCulley on Facebook took his 3-year-old to the 30th anniversary re-release of The Lion King. She loved it, although I had trouble explaining why the theater only seemed to be dusty around my seat.
That's a hard conversation to have.
Movie still holds up and is still one of the best Shakespeare adaptations. All right, thank you everybody for writing in and giving us some fanfliction. I'll come back for the listener list later, as well as everything and the gambling results and all that.
All that.
Yes.
Do you want to dive into the ironic?
And that was Mike Cole that puts together the.
Thank you, Mike Cole. Appreciate you, buddy. Do you want to dive into Longlegs?
Yeah, let's do that.
I don't know if we can call it the big sexy because it is not that. Longlegs is not a sexy film. It is a 2024 film directed by Osgood Perkins, starring Micah Monroe, who we just saw in The Guest, Blair Underwood, Alicia Witt, and the aforementioned Nicolas Cage. 86% Rotten Tomatoes. This is in theaters now. I had this thought throughout and even afterwards. Is this what I've been missing with vis-a-vis the horror genre lately? Like, I feel like horror is something I dip my toe into once in a while, as opposed to the people who maybe see every horror film that comes out. I generally skip them, but then once in a while, something like this will bubble to the surface, and it's like, oh, this is worth seeing. Is this indicative of horror films of the day?
You're asking me directly.
You see more than I do.
I don't know if that's true. I mean, you know everything I see, and I see a lot. We both usually discuss the same movies. I don't know if it's indicative. It might be a trend that's moving towards this new direction, which is not full commitment to horror with 1 foot in horror and 1 foot in slight comedy, I guess you could call it, or light. Not it's not light comedy. It's comedy light, because it feels to me like it's not a full commitment, especially with something as over the top and absurd as the subject here, right? Like you can't help but think of Silence of the Lambs, for sure, Seven a little bit, but Silence of the Lambs. I mean, it's definitely got the Silence of the Lambs vibe and tone throughout. And that, for me, when movies are like that, it's especially when it's something that's highly regarded as the Silence of the Lambs, it's tough because it's distracting because I'm just thinking, oh, this is like Silence of the Lambs, but it's not. It's Silence of the Lambs.
Sure. I had the same thought many times.
And that's tricky tricky territory when I'm watching something. Evidently, it's not that hard for other people to get past that because people are really, really one definitely steps out of reality, and in doing so, I think allows it to be comical at times. However, it wasn't. I laughed out loud maybe twice, but it's not. They weren't going for the big guffaws. But that said, like if they would, I would had maybe it's a slippery slope and it's tough. It's a high wire act. Like you don't want people laughing out loud at your movie when it's got such a serious tone. But at the same time, you got Nicolas Cage and like the opening of the movie was probably the biggest laugh for me. And you're just still not sure what the tone is. You don't know what you're getting into. And it's got that Super 8 framing, right? The ghost story framing.
Yeah, I was annoyed at that. I realized that was a storytelling device after a while.
Yeah, and then it comes back around to an extent and kind of explains why we're seeing that the way that we're seeing it. But Nicolas Cage, his character, is out of frame. We just see his bottom chin, and he's talking directly to the person who's holding the camera. And then he finally, at the very end, he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm so tall. Like it's because I wore my long legs today." And he comes down into the frame, and you're like, I don't know what kind of humor this is, but it's that tickled my funny bone. Like,
I would have liked a little more of that, honestly.
yeah, and I think that Nicolas Cage is probably fairly undirectable at times, and I would imagine that he had his own ideas for the character when he came here, and I guess it worked for a lot of people. This movie didn't really work nor not work. It was just kind of there for me, and I'm unfortunately coming down on the side of like surprised that people like it as much as they do.
I'm kind of, I think you and I are in lockstep on this one. Through no fault of the movie's own, I should point that out. This was way oversold to me. I think when I first heard the Rotten Tomatoes score, and then people were saying this is the scariest movie ever, I was like, wow, I guess I'm in for a treat. It is kind of middling, and like you said, I think these supernatural elements detract. Like this could have been a more down the middle hard
grounded.
A grounded hardcore serial killer movie. Instead, it's kind of supernatural and therefore a little bit dismissive or able to be dismissible. There are some good things about it. I agree with the listener who said that Make Monroe was really good. She was clearly, she picked a lane, and I admired the lane. Nick Cage obviously picked a lane, and to a lesser extent, it was enjoyable, but I don't know how much it fit with the movie.
Are you there still?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was waiting for you to say, you're right, bald man.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, bald man.
There you go.
Yeah, I feel like there's like, it's kind of like back to the Wes Anderson thing. Like and I don't want to seem like I can only appreciate like, like 2 or 3 different types of movies, but I don't like, people were applauding at the end of this one, and it was shocked me. I didn't know what the Rotten Tomatoes score was for this one. I
think we had heard when we gambled last week, right?
No? I don't know. I don't remember.
I think so. I think it was like 90 something at the time.
But I like the tone, and obviously people are really, really enjoying this. I'm hearing that it's fun. A lot of people find it to be fun. And
really?
I
will say it wasn't that scary.
Yeah, I didn't find it to be all that scary. I mean, there's obviously body horror that's a kind of
and there's some good jump scares.
A couple jump scares, but ultimately it's just like I never forgot that was Nicolas Cage dressed as and he wasn't in it very much at all. And
not at all.
I think my biggest problem with it was such a throwback to, the 70s, 80s movies that were all like every horror movie had to do with Satan. And it was definitely an homage to that. And I mean, that's fine. And I guess that works for a lot of people. I just kept waiting for it to come back around to reality, and it never did. It leaned in even further. And when we see the final shot and what's being said on screen, which I found hokey, people began to applaud in unison when the screen went black. So this is me, and this is you. This is our fault. I think it
was made for us.
I think a lot of our listeners, but I didn't dislike it. It wasn't like I never felt like I was wasting my time or like, why would you make that decision? Other than the script and the actual story, like the movie is really, really well executed.
Yeah.
And she was funny from like the very beginning, like just the way that they had it. I think she was probably supposed to be on the spectrum a little bit, and she walks with her hands at her side. And there was some funny moments with her and the daughter, but it was like the kind of, I heard Bill Burr describe this type of humor before, which is not like laugh out loud funny, but kind of like raise your eyebrows, like, yeah, that's pretty funny. It had that kind of humor speckled throughout.
Yeah, and I want to agree with you in that I didn't hate this movie. I found it kind of middling and maybe a waste of time, but yeah, there's some good stuff in here. It is shot really well. Mike Monroe, I think, is really good. Nick Cage is enjoyable to a certain extent.
Yeah. And I think also, like, imagine if you had never seen Nicolas Cage before and you didn't have a reference. Like, that
It'd be a
could,
revelation.
yeah, that could be like, who is this creepy dude? But it was Nicolas Cage. There's kind of, you can just feel it. Like, they're rolling. They're like, all right, Nick, you're driving. We're rolling. Do your thing. And he starts. I gotta think that he's ad libbing and he's just kind of screaming and going off and doing Nick Cage things, and they're so uh apparent now and obvious, like, recognizable as like, that's Nick Cage
Sure.
right there, going
Well,
off.
yeah, we've recently seen him as restrained in Nick Cage, like in Pig, for example. This is very much not that.
No, it's not. And there's some good stuff in here. It just didn't, at times, like the first 20, 30 minutes of the movie, I'm thinking like, wow, is this a Balti? And then it kind of unraveled for me as it went on, and it kind of just kept going, leaning further. Like, there was a path, like there was a fork in the road, and it definitely went left, and I was hoping it would go right.
Mm. I'm
You know?
very curious if this scratches an itch for like the Florences of the world, who I feel like are, the target audience.
Yeah, it's hard to tell with Florence. She did love Maxine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, horror fans are like it's almost like a whole different animal. It's not. It almost gets out of like movie territory sometimes. All right,
All right.
well made movie. Well made.
Indeed. Well, I got some assignments to catch up on.
Yeah.
I finally saw You Can Count on Me.
Oh,
You Can
nice.
Count on Me, a 2000 film written and directed by Kenneth Lonergan. This was his debut. He went on to direct and write Manchester by the Sea. This stars Laura Linney, Mark Ruffalo, Matthew Roderick, and Rory Culkin. 95% of Rotten Tomatoes. This is streaming on Hoopla if you're lucky enough to have Hoopla. Nominated for Best Actress and Best Original Screenplay at that year's Oscars. Yes, this was a delight, a very well written movie, a very well acted movie. I like the choice. I'm assuming obviously it was Kenneth Lonergan's choice to sort of subvert the office affair trope. So the big part of this movie is Laura Linney has an affair with her boss, Matthew Roderick, who is very type A, very boring, very straight laced. He's abrasive, frankly, and maybe has trouble relating to human beings. And so I thought it was interesting that the director, chose to have Laura Linney, effectively our protagonist, have an affair with a completely charmless, uncharismatic person, as opposed to being seduced or won over by this person who is irresistible. Like anyone could see themselves in that spot. She, in fact, in a weird way, took control of the situation. Like, yeah, this is a guy that no one would fantasize about having an affair with, and yet she is taking control of her life, which you find out to that point has been very dedicated to others, and has not been in control of her own life or able to live her own life. I thought it was a really effective trope subversion.
Which I think just makes it feel all that more authentic and realistic. And this movie just felt very authentic from beginning to end for me when I saw it. And I really, really like this. Is like what a good drama can be, right? And you haven't even mentioned Ruffalo, but Ruffalo just crushes as her
It was
brother.
great. He plays a kind of ne'er do well brother who their parents die when they're very young. You got the impression they fast forward many years when they're adults, and you get the impression that Ruffalo probably had, as a growing up youth and teen, probably had the tougher end of it in terms of how it affected his life to this point. He's a bit of a ne'er do well, a drifter, can't keep down a job, and he plays it really well.
Yes, he does. I'm very happy you saw this, and now you have a better understanding of what it's like to have a sister.
It's very, very like a holdover from like 90s indie movies. Like it's got that ethos, it's got that sort of a little rough around the edges, but you forgive it because it's really well written and really smart. I will say, I was thinking throughout Rory Culkin. I think this is his first role as Laura Linney's son, and I just kept thinking, God, that poor kid. Not in
Mm,
real life, of course,
right.
but the
In the movie.
character.
And you really feel, right? He's the way that this thing is directed and the way that it's put together, like you feel for these characters deeply.
Also, important film criticism here. I don't think Laura Linney ever got her due for being low key hot.
Same with Helen Hunt. Did she get her due?
Mm.
I just watched.
Uh, you know what? I don't think she did. But if you're a Helen Hunt fan, like some of us are, you can get a lot of Helen Hunt in the sessions.
Yeah, you love that.
She looks great for whatever she was, 50 at the time.
Sorry, I'm
I digress.
I had to deal with a text with a mother-in-law who's coming over to help with the boy because the wife is working. All right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and I could talk a little bit about Twister because that's fresh in the mind, and Twisters is coming out next week, and we can also talk about the the assigned movie documentary, The Guv'nor, which Travis Barry assigned,
Gov.
which is very disturbing, but not for the reason you might think, Bray.
I'm excited to find out more next. All right, we're back. Anderson alluded to Travis Barry assigning us the governor, if you want to pronounce it in the local parlance. 2016 documentary. If you're looking for it, it's spelled the GUV apostrophe NOR, the governor. Directed by Paul Van Carter. This is a profile. Well, it's sort of a dual profile of Lenny McLean and his son, his now adult son. But Lenny is the titular governor, and he was
Right.
the movie. I found myself initially confused. Get ready for that. I'm like, why is this guy so well known? How come everyone seems to know the governor? Turns out he was a very well known bare knuckle boxer back in the day and parlayed that into some other success. He was a best selling author and a movie star.
Yes. So his name is Lenny McLean, as Brian said, and this documentary unfolds mainly through the retelling of stories by his son,
It's
who is
his son is, yeah, his mission is to tell his dad's life, and he goes back and talks to old friends, family members, et cetera, et cetera.
and we got Guy Ritchie is also in this. I don't know if you mentioned that, but
I do not.
so Lenny McLean as a subject, great subject and worthy of a documentary, obviously worthy of an autobiography that he wrote and worthy of the movie roles that he got. I don't believe the same can be said about his son, who unfortunately is in this movie more than Lenny McLean is. Now, in talking to Travis Barry yesterday, both of us agree that I think this would be a better movie and be a lot easier to yell to people to go out and track it down and watch it on Prime, because I think it would have gone down a whole lot smoother if the son was maybe a very small part of it instead of retelling his dad's old stories, which you got the sense that he just tells those stories like that is his identity. It felt
He's
like,
the de facto narrator, the
yeah,
storyteller, our guide, our Sherpa.
and he's not he's neither here nor there. He didn't belong in the center of this movie, which was supposed to be about Lenny McLean, and I think that that was the aim. But it really became more about the son, as far as I could tell, retelling the stories. And I couldn't help but think, like, if I saw that guy in a pub, if I saw a son in a pub, I would just make. That if you were to like go stand behind him, he'd be telling a story about his dad. Like that,
Mm.
it seems like that's just these are stories he's told hundreds and hundreds of times. And I would have liked this movie a lot more if they just got the son out of there and they had just a true narrator, maybe Guy Ritchie himself, just telling these stories and recounting articles and stories that maybe the son had written down, or just if it was a different style documentary. Because I did become tired. The son's retelling for me became tedious. That said, Lenny McLean they don't make him like that anymore. And
Indeed.
he was, like Brian said, a bare knuckle boxer. He was a doorman. He worked for he worked for the Craze at one
What do you
point,
say, doorman? He was a bouncer.
a bouncer and a doorman. And he worked for like crime syndicates, including Bronson, who was played by Tom Hardy, and then Tom Hardy also played the Cray brothers. He worked for
Yep.
them at a time, and he was just known around the neighborhoods as this really, really scary enforcer who can take care of business. Like, he broke numerous jaws. Like, there's a great shot, a great scene. I wish they made more of this one, um, like particular time that he was in the ring for these amateur bare knuckle brawls that he would have, and a guy comes up and headbutts him, and then they, ding ding ding, and then they go back to their corners, and you're like thinking, because it's towards the beginning of the movie, and you're thinking, is the headbutter like the principal here, the subject? And it's like, oh no, the guy that got headbutted, now look what he does as retribution, and he just destroys this man for headbutting him in the ring. And that's actually the first clip that Travis Barry saw, like on YouTube or something. He just saw that clip and he's like, who is this guy? So his face is very familiar. You feel like you know him, and you can't help but think Guy Ritchie must have known this guy at some point.
I had the exact same thought where I'm like, this got a very like Snatch feel to it.
Yeah. And then it turns out, as you continue to watch, oh, yeah, not only did Guy Ritchie know about him, he cast him in his first movie, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. That is the guy. He's the Lenny McLean is the baddie. He's the tough guy. He's the old guy that's barking orders at everybody. And, along with Vinnie Jones, Guy Ritchie, had an affinity for non-actors who he grew up, knowing of. And he cast those two guys in his very first movie, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, which is great. Now, here's the most disturbing part, Brian. And I don't know if you picked up on this, but the old guy that plays, what's his name in Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels? What's his character's name?
Is it not Bricktop? That's Snatch.
Barry the Baptist. That's who we're talking about. Barry the Baptist in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. If you haven't seen it in a while, you could probably kind of conjure who it is. They have clips of it in The Guv'nor, the documentary that we watched. We see clips from his acting in Lock, Stock. He's an old man. He's like a 75, 80-year-old man in Lock, Stock.
Oh, that's him. Yeah, that's the guy.
Barking orders. Here's what's so disturbing. Lenny McLean died 2 years younger than I am right now. So he's not an old man. He was probably 47 when he shot Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, maybe even younger. Well, man, I think he was already a little bit sick. But this man lived such a hard life, and times were so different back then, that this man was 2 years younger than I am right now when he died. And it's that.
Wow.
Right.
You know what? I feel like I could have done the math, but thinking about it and looking at him in that movie, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, he feels like a 65, 70-year-old man.
He really does. He's like, what's his name from Reservoir Dogs?
Joe Cabot. Yeah. Like Lawrence Tierney.
Same type of character, right? And they could almost play brothers, like twin. They could almost play like same age brothers, contemporaries. But no, he was like,
oh my God. So the movie came out in 98. He died in 98 when he was 49. So he probably shot the movie when he was 48.
Yeah. Crazy, isn't it? Isn't that crazy?
Wow. That's
like that at that age.
Look him up, guys. Even if you don't know who he is, the Barry the Baptist, I would think that guy's 70 years old.
Yeah. At least, right? At least. So that was the most disturbing part for me, was that, I am up there in years, which troubles me. And then to know that with a different type of life. Well, actually, my lifestyle is not that great.
I was going to say, well, he's lived a marginally harder life than you. That's bad news.
Oh,
Careful in Belize.
Anyhow, why is that? Oh, just
adventuring.
Be caretaking in Belize. All right, so that's Lenny McLean, the Lenny McLean story, also known as The Guv'nor. And yeah, light recommendation. I'm glad that I saw it. I'm glad that I know more about this man.
I see what you said about the son. That said, it didn't bother me. I mean, he was kind of neither here nor there, but it wasn't a attraction anyway.
I just think there's a really tight, good story that could have been told here. And I think they could have dug a little deeper too, because they kind of, in passing towards the end, talk about how this man had some real mental health issues and might have been really awful to his own family too, but they kind of skirted that. And it's almost like they wedged that in because they felt like they would have been completely, it would have been unfair or to tell a story without telling some of the darker. I think there's some real dark stuff here and some real light stuff. People loved him. He kind of like Gotti, like, the locals all loved him. But if you're on his bad side, like I think that he did some pretty horrible things to some. Obviously, he did.
He was a local hero, a local legend.
All right, yeah, he was a local legend. He deserves his own movie, like Chopper or Bronson, or they can make a movie about this guy just in the streets. Oh, I should also say this. Travis Barry is also the one who signed us that other documentary, The Machine. Wait, what was it?
Oh, the wrecking machine or
Or-
whatever it was, right?
What was it called? Oh, let me look that up. Son of a
Wasn't it
bitch.
called like the wrecking machine or
Uh,
something?
We'll know it as soon as we hear it. Gosh, I had it in my brain just moments ago when I'm like, don't forget to bring that up. Here, I'll get it for you. I'll get it for you. Oh, that's not working. Is it this machine? Brian, full time.
Travis Barry. Travis Barry, what have you assigned us, you son of a bitch?
This is the
I don't
best
know.
part of
I
the
don't
show.
know why I said that.
This is the best part of the show. The smashing
Yeah,
machine. There it is. The
there
smashing,
it is.
which is being made into a scripted narrative feature, and the smashing machine will be played by The Rock, right?
Oh, really?
Wayne Johnson. Yeah. So we have already seen that documentary. If you want to get ahead of it and have some more context, you can watch the Smashing Machine, which was similar to The Governor. I liked the Smashing Machine more because he was such a mild mannered, nice guy that we just had to like break faces for a living. But yeah, there we go.
Oh, I want to hear about Twister, a film I have not seen.
You've never seen Twister.
Never seen Twister.
You've never. How have you never seen Twister? What's the matter with you?
I don't know. You tell me.
So excited.
It looks stupid.
Been excited. Well, yeah, it is. Been excited for a few months now because the boy's getting a little bit older. It's PG-13, but I think if it's PG-13 because of natural disaster and maybe some people getting hit in the head, I think it's passable. So, and I'm leaning on this parent guide more than I thought I ever would, which just mainly because I don't want the same thing to happen to him that happened to me when I was a kid, where I got pretty
Sure.
fucked up because I was brought to movies that I shouldn't see. Also, I'm afraid of the wife yelling at me, or the kid, God forbid, waking up having nightmares because of something that I took him to. So I read the parent guide to make sure. And I was actually playing. I was doing a lot of the research for this week's show in the hospital while waiting yesterday
Sure.
and the day before. I shouldn't say a lot, but I was doing some, and then I got sidetracked and was playing the parent guide game with Atticus, and he was pretty good at it. Like reading the
Really?
PG and PG-13 movies that he's seen, and he was nailing them. But yeah, so Twister, we sat down, we watched 1996. We watched this yesterday or the day before, directed by Jan de Bont, who of course is famous for Roar. That's where he got his start. Was DP on Roar. He also directed Speed, and he did. He's directed some things. So
It
uh,
begins and ends with Roar.
Roar. This stars Helen Hunt, Bill Paxton, Carrie Ells. How do you say his name, Brian?
Always.
Always. God, Philip Seymour Hoffman crushing it. God, this movie's got a lot of people. Todd Field is in here. You got Alan
Todd
Rudd.
Field. Todd Field from Tar.
Todd Field from the director. Todd Field from
Yeah.
Tar. Oh my God, there's Jeremy Davies is in here, who plays the coward in once in
Private Ryan.
Private Ryan, Saving Private Ryan. Jamie Gertz. Every face is somewhat recognizable. It seems like Patrick Fischler, Zach Grenier, who we just watched in Grenier.
Grenier. Hey,
Grenier.
I'm sorry to do this to you. I got to pause. I got a pee emergency.
Oh, jeez.
I'm back in 2 minutes. So Twister, I don't want to shortchange you here. Do the effects hold up?
No, I don't like it when I hear kids sound like kids. Like, and one of the things that makes kids sound like kids is when they feel good about themselves, saying that's so fake. And I heard that quite a bit from Atticus throughout the movie.
Nice.
Because it's 96. But that didn't trouble me nearly as much as just so they have this band of characters, right? And it's good guys versus bad guys. There's these researchers that they ran out of grant money. They're headed by Helen Hunt. The story is so absurd. They just don't make movies like this anymore, Brian, and it's probably a great thing. And I remember the movie being cheesy and not loving it when it came out, but we went for the effects, which at the time were pretty good. But the absurdity, the over the top, almost like Top Gun level absurdity of the archetypes and good versus bad, and trying to so they try to show that all of this team of researchers, this band of of misfits, all have their own vibe, their own characters, and they do it in very small little ways where we see them, because a lot of the movie is just them chasing tornadoes in a caravan. So they all got their own style, right? And we see little short snippets of it with each character in their little truck or car, whatever it may be, as
Yeah,
they're
I feel like this was a trope of the era, like whether it was Armageddon or whatever, is like, oh, here's the one dude being wacky, and here's the one dude, very studious or whatever.
yeah, they had to have the casting of all these and lay them out, right? And they're like real like heavy archetypes. Now that said, Philip Seymour Hoffman just he's fantastic. Like I wanted the whole movie to just be about this ridiculous, like very smart, but just like go with the flow, man, and whatever, man. This is awesome, dude. Let's go chase this storm. He's almost like a surfer who just wants to chase the goddamn tornadoes. And I forgot what some director recently was saying that Hoffman was just completely undirectable. He would just show up and like he would have the idea for however he read it in the script. That's how he would play it. And there's just you couldn't get him to do anything else other than that, which is fine when you're that good. You know what I mean? If
But
you're
this is also early in his career too. Like I don't think anyone knew he was that good.
but you get the sense that he's kind of doing his own thing, but it works, right? And then you got the Carrie Elwes character, they're all in black SUVs and cars, and they got corporate sponsorship, which you hear Bill Paxton talking about. Oh, look, they got corporate sponsorship. Just real quick off the bat, letting us know that these guys are bad. They got corporate sponsor. They're in it for the money. They have no instincts at all. He actually even says that he has no instincts, doesn't know what the storm's going to do, doesn't know which way that tornado is going to go, and they're constantly cutting them off and then following them and trying to like steal their secrets so that they can get the intel that they're all trying to get these little sensors inside the actual funnel of a tornado.
Sure.
They can learn about the tornado, learn about its habits, learn about how they function, so that they can get better warning out there for the people who are deep, negatively affected by tornadoes taking their houses, right?
Well, you don't face your fears; you ride them.
Oh, I was gonna get there, Brad. So it opens up, actually, I should say, with a little family in a little farm like house, and tornadoes coming, and the dad's like watching the old news, and like I think it's late '60s, early '70s, and then they go down to the storm room, and the dad's holding on to the storm door, and the tornado comes and rips the door off, and the guy goes flying out with the door, and he's like kind of like in a fetal position. It was very, very funny. We ran that 3 times because it was fun watching that guy fly off into the storm. And it turns out that was Helen Hunt's dad, and she was a little girl down there with her mom. And she's ever since then, Brian, get this, she's been trying to change things. They make
her backstory.
Yeah, so it's so on the nose and paint by number, but almost to the point that like it's so bad at times, like it could almost be enjoyed and mocked like publicly, which I don't like when a movie that bad and you celebrate it for being bad, but it's
good watch along.
So okay. So Bill Paxton used to be married, and this is the story now. And it's just, and for a lot of you probably haven't seen it in a long time, but here's where the story is. Bill Paxton used to be married to Helen Hunt. Still not exactly sure what happened there, but Helen Hunt played by she plays Dr. Joe Harding and Bill Harding. They were married. They led this team of misfits and off the grid scientists and storm enthusiasts by chasing storms and trying to get research on it, right? So that was the team. That is all precedes the movie. So the movie picks up with Bill Paxton, who's now got his new life going. He and Helen Hunt have divorced, and he's now traveling in a brand new, big, expensive Ram pickup truck with Jamie Gertz. She's playing Dr. Melissa Reeves. Turns out that she's a therapist for people who can't have kids. Right. So she's like a psychologist talking to her clients on the cell phone, which is a big joke throughout the movie. Like while the storm is like surrounding them, she's picking up the phone going, I can't talk to you right now. There's a cow. Right. So he's about to get married to this very conservative woman, and he's taken a job as a weatherman on TV. Right. So he has gone completely like corporate himself, and he's playing it safe, and he's living the life we think is not him, because he and this whole team has absolute and total admiration for Bill Paxton's character. And when they see him come back, you get the sense they haven't seen him in a while. And they're like, he's back. Welcome back. He's like, I'm not back. I'm just here. Why is he there, Brian? Why did they go out in the middle of nowhere to see his team, his old team? Is because Helen Hunt hadn't signed the final divorce papers yet, and he needs her to sign those so he can get married to his new wife, or his now fiance.
Sure, yeah.
So that's why. And then he's talking to the old team and he's like saying, "Hey, Helen, can you sign these papers?" And she's like, "Oh, I thought I did. Yeah, I'll get to it." And she signed. And then they hear that there's a storm, so he's like, "Oh, let's go!" And he can't believe that she actually created Dorothy, which is this thing that they had, I guess, come up with together, which was gonna, you set it in the line of the storm of the tornado, and then the little sensors go up into the storm. So he's like, "You did it! I can't believe it." And he's like looking at it like almost sexually. He's so excited about this Dorothy little canister that holds the sensors. And then he's like, "Oh, I need you to sign these papers." And she's like, "Right now?" And he's like, "Yeah, because I'm getting married." And then they go, "Oh, we got one." And I think it's Philip Seymour Hoffman's character is like, "We got one. This is cat 3. We got to go." And then next thing you know, Bill Paxton and Jamie Gertz are like following, and they're like driving along, and now they're chasing a storm. And that's how the kind of movie kicks off. And then Bill Paxton gets sucked deeper and deeper in, and it's just one storm after another, and one death-defying moment after another of Helen Hunt and Bill essentially, for the most part, just avoiding death, being sucked away, and it keeps ratcheting up and ratcheting up. Each tornado they see is a bigger one. At one point, Brian, there's a little reprieve, and they're having dinner. The whole team is. There's like, I don't know, 12 of them. They're all having dinner at Helen Hunt's mom's place, and that's where they're filling in Jamie Gertz. And the audience as well, like the different types, categories.
Sure. Yeah,
Tornadoes.
important exposition.
Yeah, so bad, Brian. There's this one moment that's so goddamn bad. They're talking about I forget, was it F2, F3, maybe just like, category 3, category 4. And they're talking about how 4 is like super, super big. And Jamie Gertz's eyes are all wide, and they're telling stories about how they saw these category 4. And then she says, what would a category 5 be? And everyone gets fucking silent. And everyone's just quiet. And like the kind of thing that would never, ever happen. There's moments in this movie also where, like, for no reason at all, like all of the little scientists and the team like break into applause, like just obviously a cue on set, but it's just like they never would have done that. All started clapping at the same time.
Why are they clapping?
Why are they clapping, Brett? So she's like, "Well, what would a category 5 look like?" And they all get quiet, and then one of the scientists goes, "That's the finger of God." And now we all know that the movie's going to end with the
I'm guessing that's the last time that category 5 is ever referenced.
Like, it's the category 5.
Wait, no, that's the climactic. I'm guessing
Chekhov's category 5. So
there you go.
All that said, and it's a great cast of characters. It's so cheesy, it's absurd. I'm thinking that they're probably going to lean into it even harder now. I mean, this is back when you had a budget, and it's just the movies were not, these types of big action movies just were not very sophisticated. They're much more sophisticated today, but also there's a path to be taken where it's just such cheese. They lean into the cheese. And I think that we're getting that sense from Twisters with you don't face your fears, you ride them, which I'm kind of excited about, just letting go, and let's see just how fucking cheesy we can make this.
Take me along for that. So do you think one has to see Twister for the 2 Twisters?
I don't know, because I haven't seen Twisters yet, but I would imagine it's going to just ratchet it up even more, and there's going to be a lot of throwbacks and references. I would imagine there's some, so it'll probably take your level of enjoyment down a notch. If you can watch Twisters, watch Twisters. Now, I don't know how this happened, but the first time I tried to watch Twisters a few nights ago, I was just previewing it to make sure that I could watch it with Atticus the next day. He was already asleep. And on my one TV, it was the aspect ratio was completely off. Like faces were like half cut off, and it was just annoying. It was like anamorphic, but it was not it was not transcoded properly for the TV, so it just looked like hell. But then I watched, when I tried it the next morning, and on my other TV, it worked just fine. So it's streaming on Max right now. If you want to have a fun watch, we should have done the watch along with this year, this month.
Yeah, thinking about that.
God damn it! Why didn't we do that? Is it too late?
No, never too late.
Is it not too late? Maybe. What do we do?
I think the audience is excited for Idiocracy.
Yeah, we could do Idiocracy and then Hundreds of Beavers next month. All right. Short-sighted. We probably should have done Twister, especially now with it, like, new in my memory is how bad it was. I remember my main complaint when I first saw it was like, there's a lot of just bad movie making until you get to the Twister, and the Twister looked really good. Like all the Twisters looked really good on the big screen. I don't know if I've seen it on the small screen till now, but it is what it is.
Strong recommendation.
I'm a little shocked that it was as bad as it was. I remember it being bad, but not this, just like hokey.
All right.
We don't talk about category 5s.
That's the finger of God.
It's the finger of God. All right.
Coming up next, we will count down the top five actors who can play heroes and villains, good guys and bad guys. After this, welcome back. Time to count down the top five actors who can play heroes and villains, protagonists and antagonists, the Kevin Bacons of our world. Anderson, I didn't stick with me. I didn't get clever, but I was looking at my list early on, and there were just so many great actors and great examples of actors that can pull off the good guys and bad guys so effectively. I'm like, how am I going to cut by half these people? Then I realized I'll do top five U.S. actors, top five international actors. I got 10, baby.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
Fine. Yeah, this is it's rare when this happens, but I would have liked another week to spend with this because I spent about as much time as I normally spend on the entire list just coming up with the names. There were so many, and I spent
So
so
many.
much time just culling through all of the names, and I have like upwards of 30 plus names that would make a very solid top five. I would have liked to have gone deeper and really kind of fleshed out some of the characters. So that said, it's a little thumbnail on my end, a little more thumbnail than I would like. I don't know if I should be admitting that, but I have a very, very solid list. And you'll hear the names and be like, oh yeah, it's true. But I don't have as much research as I would like with like, well, here's the worst character, the best villain they've ever played and the best hero they've ever played, but they're
Well,
all
you
worth.
spent a lot of time in the hospital.
I spent a lot of time on this list too. Like no more, no less than I normally would. It's just I didn't. It would have probably taken double research to actually do it the way that I would have liked because I'm all or nothing, Brian, and I try and be all for the show as much as possible. And sometimes I just don't. I like with this, I didn't realize that it was going to be this big of a list. I thought there'd be
Well,
like 10 that really stood out, but there were so, and they kept coming to me too. New ones kept coming.
I thought of one this morning that I put on the also rans.
Godzilla came to me just last night.
Good and bad.
Yeah, Godzilla, complex.
Well, I have a robust list. Hopefully, this will round out the very long list of actors who can do this.
Okay.
Do you want to just dive in?
Yeah, sure. I'll just start since it sounds like you got 10 on there. There's no room to have a part two later on. So I'll just go with my number five, which I wasn't sure if I was going to do a tie, but what the hell? If we're doing this once, one and done, or we're not going to do this again for a long time, I will allow my tie to be on here. And that is a tie between Jonathan Lithgow and Robert Duvall. Both have played characters that you absolutely love and you trust, father-like characters. John Lithgow, of course, in Harry and the Hendersons, and then you also do Raising Cain. Robert Duvall, he plays characters that sometimes within the movie itself, like he's lovable and absolutely terrifying. So those are two character actors. Most of these are character actors too, that are very, very adept at playing on both sides of the spectrum. Like you're terrified of both of those and you absolutely trust and love both of those actors depending on their role.
Yes, well put. I also have a couple of examples of actors who play the hero and the villain in the same movie. They are that much range. No crossover yet. My number five for American actors is John Malkovich. John Malkovich plays the protagonist or a protagonist in Of Mice and Men. Being John Malkovich, of course, Red and Red 2, which you and I love so much.
Nope.
The Man in the Iron Mask and Secretariat, these are kind of straightforward heroes. And then, of course, great villains in Rounders, In the Line of Fire, of course, Dangerous Liaison, Con Air, about throwback to the Twister era of movie making. But he's great as an over the top.
Con Air is great, Brian.
He is so much fun.
Con Air is fantastic. Like
It's great, silly fun.
yeah, it's done right. It's paint by numbers, but it's really good paint. It's not like you never felt like they were trying to entertain the dumbest in the audience. Like they were just having fun for the audience.
I did feel that, but I also feel like it worked. I feel like
For everybody. They were trying to make it work for everybody. Whereas something like Mister, they're like, let's just worry about like, the 100 IQs. Well, we're not going to be worried about anybody above.
That reminds me, maybe a good top five, and this would be very 90s heavy. Top five silly movies, like movies that are silly, but they're good. Con Air is a great example. Like it's silly, but it works and it's fun.
I don't like it. It's too loose. Too loosey. Top five silly movies. I mean, every kid's movie can be considered silly.
I disagree.
should have seen me dive for the remote when I heard the wife and the boy talking about watching Garfield. Like,
Oh
no,
no,
no, we're not doing that.
we're gonna avoid that. Number
Number.
five, international actor, because I have two,
Yeah.
remember, for each
Yeah.
entry. Number five, international actor for me, Javier Bardem. Javier Bardem can play good guys like in Dune. He was the heroic dad in The Little Mermaid. Being the Ricardos, he was Ricky Ricardo, and then of course no better villains than in Skyfall, Collateral, and of course No Country for Old Men.
Of course. Javier Bardem.
But I think you really hit on something, which is when a lot of my actors, Javier Bardem, John Malkovich included, when you first see them on screen, you're ready for them to be evil or heroic. You're like, I am ready for whatever this actor throws at me, and I will buy whatever the road this actor goes down. If Javier Bardem is going to be the dad in The Little Mermaid, King Triton, it's like totally buy in. If he's going to be a fucking Anton Chigurh, totally buy it.
I think they're so good though, and like I'm looking at my list, like I can tell, you can tell pretty quickly if you're gonna like be rooting for them or they're gonna
Oh,
be
sure. That's
like
how good an actor
just
they
by
are.
their
But
presence. Yeah, exactly, just their
yeah,
presence.
but then as soon as you know they're in a movie, I guess I'm saying like,
Uh,
oh, John Malkovich is in this. Like,
See the name. Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
on board for whatever this guy does.
Right. Agreed. Agreed. Number four for me is my only lady on the list. And there
Ooh,
were
me
some other
too.
candidates, but I tried to find also like if you're known as a good guy or good girl and you did you stepped out of your comfort zone one or not even comfort zone, that's not fair to say, but like Meryl Streep, I can't think of her playing a villain more than once, maybe twice. You got to have a few on your list
Right.
for it to make my list, and that's why I have Charlize Theron is number four for me. Of course, recently we just saw her in Mad Max Fury Road. Actually, it wasn't that recent, but she plays the hero there, obviously, as well as the Old Guard, which I didn't love, but she was great in it. Atomic Blonde, The Italian Job, and The Valley of Elah. I've not seen, but she. Oh, have I? Maybe I have. Either way. And then, of course, she plays the villain very effectively in Prometheus, A Snow White and the Huntsman, which I unfortunately saw parts of. The Fast and Furious franchise, I've seen her in there and the movies that I have seen. And, of course, Monster, which sealed the deal for me because she was so effective and well, well portrays Eileen in Monster very effectively. I think she won the Oscar for that. But
She did.
Charlize can swing both ways. Very
Well
effective.
done. Well done. My number four is also the only female on the list, on my list. I'll start with the international because she's an Australian actress. Kate Blanchett
Oh,
is, of course, well known for almost over the top heroic in like the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies. She's also a hero in The Gift, the main protagonist, as well as Benjamin Button. But she plays very effective villains in Thor Ragnarok. She plays Hela. And also, while
Ella.
not a good movie at all, she was maybe the best part of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. The only part that I remember fondly
But she was in that scene where the ants came.
with the ants. True, but I mean, she was there. She didn't get consumed by the ants, but she was a very effective villain in what was otherwise not a very good movie.
Not a very good movie. It's putting it very, very lightly. All right. Go
It's
ahead.
below average.
Who's your American?
My American number four is, wait for it,
Hmm.
Edward Norton plays a deeply flawed anti-hero in American History X, where you can say he's actually the primary antagonist for much of the film. This is an example of a role where the actor is the antagonist and protagonist in the same film. He undergoes a transformational change halfway through the movie, but he plays sort of classic, straightforward heroes in The People vs. Larry Flint, in Red Dragon. Also, he was the first Hulk, not the first, but he was the Incredible Hulk. Motherless Brooklyn.
What's that?
Motherless Brooklyn.
Yeah.
There it is. I was waiting for that. And I played great villains in The Italian Job, Glass Onion, and in Rounders, you could say he wasn't really a villain, although he's
Where'd he
definitely
go?
not a good guy. Yeah,
Where'd he go?
where is Worm?
The
Oh,
worm just
he's
disappears.
kind of like the
Wrapped up.
devil on your shoulder, right? He's kind of like the devil on Matt Damon's shoulder. Either way, great, smarmy villains and great heroes.
Number three for me is a man we all know as Gary Oldman. I mean, he could have. I thought he was going to be number one for much of the week, Brian. It turns out there's a couple that are better than him. But Gary Oldman, part of the problem is he plays hero now and again, but it's never like I'll go anywhere you go, Mister. Oldman. Like his hero characters don't hold a candle to his villains, but he can
True. But
go
he pulls
both
off
ways.
the like Winston Churchill very effectively,
Yeah, that was fantastic, and
which is
that
almost a larger than life real life hero.
and I lost Gary Oldman. He has that ability to like you don't see him in there, which is what didn't happen with Nicolas Cage in Longlegs. It was Nicolas Cage doing.
Nick Cage could be on the list.
He could be. He's on my also rents. But Gary Oldman played some of the best has played some of the best villains we've ever seen. I would say every from Dexter. I mean Dexter, not Dexter.
Dex,
What's this goddamn man?
Leon.
No, 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 no.
Oh, Drexel.
Drexel. Thank you. Jesus Christ. It's embarrassing. All right,
Drexel Spivey.
let's leave it at that. But yeah, Winston Churchill, of course, Gordon in the Dark Knight trilogy, even George Smiley in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, which Crimmins had his watch. But and he plays Dracula. He plays actual Dracula as far as villains go. I mean, we all know that this man is a chameleon. He can play.
Oh, he's in the fucking in Hannibal. He's a great villain.
Sid Vicious in Sid and Nancy, and of course a very odd villain in The Fifth Element. Oh, I love that Fifth Element. Maybe that should be
my beloved Book of Eli.
In your beloved Book of Eli.
Yes, I left him off the list only because we had just talked about him with top 5 cultured villains, and I'm very glad I did because you had him on the list. So cover some more ground that one.
Zorg. He plays Zorg in The Fifth Element. What is that black liquid coming down from the top of his head? What's happening there?
I thought it was his hair.
I know there's remember like when he's really having a bad time there.
Oh, sure.
It starts to very viscous oil like petroleum starts dripping down. It was a choice.
I haven't seen that since it came out.
So good, Brian. Fifth fucking Element. So good.
Number 3, American actor. Number 3, at the aforementioned earlier in this episode, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Plenty of Good Guys. He was the main character, the protagonist in State and Maine, owning Mahoney, bit of an anti-hero, but
yeah, I mean, he's played a lot of anti-hero. That's why I wanted to put him on. I really did.
Sequester, Almost Famous, Boogie Nights, Along Came Polly, Magnolia. A lot of these are complicated characters, but they are, I would call them good guys. And of course, bad guys in Mission Impossible 3, a very underrated villain. Punch Drunk Love, The Bachelor Span, The Master, and Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. Also a slimy villain in Red Dragon. How Do You Live Longer? I have no doubt that we'll be getting some great villainous roles from Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Did you say Mission Impossible?
That was the first one I said.
Yeah, because he was so convincing in that scene in the car and he's explaining what's going to happen. Just chills it. And it was like PG-13. I don't think he even had R to lean on, right? But it's just like you believe that he was going to do all those horrible things.
Yep. Very threatening.
And
number 3, international actor from merry old England, going with an obvious one, Ian McKellen. Now, do you think, I'll ask you, Anderson, do you think he's better known culturally as Magneto or as Gandalf?
I mean, it's a tie, right? I don't even know.
That's what I'm saying. He's not great.
They're both so iconic. I don't know. Great question. I don't know. Probably depends. I bet now Magneto, but like 10 years ago, I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's a good debate, but either way, he's capable of pulling off that over the top being like, archetypal hero, like the Obi-Wan Kenobi type, or he's the arch villain Magneto.
Wait a minute. How old is he?
God, he's 112.
He was born in 39. That makes him 41. What? 60? He's only 66 years old?
Yeah, no, that's very wrong. He's like 86.
Oh yeah. Wait, I'm doing 41. Is that God, what the hell's the brain? 61 plus 24. Ah, he was born in May. Quiet you. 61 plus 24 would be 65.
85 years old.
Okay. Why did I think that 39 to 2000 would be 41? I
You're
am.
missing some years, everybody.
All right. Okay. Okay, here we go. Number number two.
Ooh,
Oh,
want to take a
take a
break for
break.
Amazon?
I'm gonna take a quick break here for the old Amazon kids.
Coming up next, we'll read the Amazon purchases for the week and then get back to our lists. Time to go over the interesting, notable purchases made on Amazon this week. Thank you, all of you, for continuing to support the show. Hopefully, we're recording this on Prime Day, actually. So hopefully, you put a few things in your cart and they dropped in price and you can snatch up those deals. Thank you for helping the show by tapping the banner or the link over at andersonandbryan.com. Things purchased on the Amazon banner include 2 Citizen ProMaster Dive watches. Someone got themselves an AmScope professional microscope. Fezebo L-shaped standing desk. Someone got a Strider balance bike for kids. Smart. That's exactly what Tessa used, and I think it helped her learn to ride a bike very easily. Oh, and they also got a Strider Easy Ride pedal kit, so you can add pedals and make it a regular bike after. Oh, that's very clever. All right, enjoy that. Good luck with that. I'm sure it'll work. Oral-B electric toothbrush was purchased. A Nanpu industrial grade air drying system. Apple AirPods Pro. Ring wired doorbell Pro. Reading reloading competition seating die. This is a accessory for your rifle. Well, thank you very much for tapping the banner and getting that. 3 Favo Yard patio cushions. 40 slow play rectangular poker plaques. Anderson, if you remember the scene from Casino Royale where they're playing poker and for high stakes, and they have these little, like, I guess they're like 3x5 little cards, but they're super thick plastic, and they represent like a $500,000 bet or $1 million bet. I was like, where do you get those? Turns out you got them on Amazon. Never
Oh, yeah.
knew. Office chair
I would have
mat.
guessed, Brian, because everything is on Amazon.
Yes, there
I
really
bought a
is.
human finger there the other day.
The
That's not
finger
true.
of God.
That's not true. Finger of God movie was streaming on there though. Yeah.
That's well done. Office chair mat for carpeted floors. Fever Tree ginger beer. High quality. High quality. High quality. That's
Mhm.
not how it's spelled. HYKOLITY. Outdoor three-headed post light, baby playmat, Eagle galvanized steel cigarette butt receptacle, electric wheelchair joystick controller. I guess you can call it a joystick. Nutrafol men's hair growth supplements, cooling travel neck pillow, Saucony men's sneaker, slim charger for HP Omen, motorcycle rear cargo rack, Delta Cycle 2 bikes, 2 Delta Cycle 2 bike storage rack, and finally, time to get those textbooks. Someone got themselves the Law of Higher Education student version.
Student version. The law of education. Here's the most click through. This is the last time I talked to y'all. Somebody clicked through and got Xanadu. Xanadu. You ever seen Xanadu, Brad?
Never have.
Oh, that's a watch along candidate right there. What the hell? How have we not?
Is it crazy?
That's pretty crazy. Mike Rono did a whole 5 minutes with Mike just on Xanadu. He was obsessed. Oh, will you take a look while I'm waxing over here about the click throughs?
I'm looking right now. Unfortunately, I got to rent it.
No, that's stupid. Well, we'll wait on that. Let's earmark that one and we'll circle back when it's streaming on one of the major platforms. Hey, Clue was clicked through as well as In the Mouth of Madness, which we just covered. As good as it gets. U571. I like that U571 quite a bit. The Legend of Billie Jean was clicked through. Have not seen. The Karate Kid was clicked through as well as The Secret of Nim. Fuck to the S with The Secret of Nim. I know you don't like Brian, but it's because you're wrong.
I do like. I haven't seen it in a long time.
The Air Up There, as well as The Martian. It Happened One Night. 13 Women. Ready or Not. Fuck to the S with Ready or Not. Compartment number 6 was clicked through as well as The Shining, which is I should also say this about, if I may. Twister. Heavy Spielberg vibes. It wasn't Amblin. produced movie, and
He was the executive producer.
you can tell that he said, "Hey, just try to make this look like one of my movies." I mean, it just felt Spiel. They have multiple shots of people looking up to the sky in awe, which is a Spielberg trope to this point, signature shot, I should say. Just the lighting of it all that Jan de Bont created over there, and The Shining, which is one of Spiel's like fascinations, was playing on the drive-in theater screen when the one of the Twister comes and ravages the drive-in, which was a fun scene. And that was not part of the parent guide. So there's the little twins scene in the hallway, and Danny's sitting there on his big wheels looking at the twins, and then it does that quick smash cut to the twins being slaughtered in the hallway, and you can see it on the drive-in screen. And I'm like, Atticus, did you see that? He's like, no, what? And Mom is on the couch with us. And I'm like, no, nothing. He's like, well, I saw the bloody bodies on the. I'm like, oh God, you did see that. You did see that. Might be a little too much, even if it's a screen within a screen. Anyways, all right, enough of that. So yeah, The Shining was clicked through, as well as Late Night with the Devil, The Last Stop in Yuma County. Oh yeah. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Abigail, Twisted Metal, Sorry, Not Sorry, The Grand Budapest Hotel, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Fuck to the end with that click through. Look at that, guys. Hey, thank you very much for all the click throughs, for continuing to watch movies, and think of us while you do so. A couple cents comes our way. That's much appreciated. Helps the show continue with gusto and enthusiasm. And now it's time to get back to the program.
Welcome back. Time to finish up our lists. Anderson, what's your number 2?
Number dos for me is an actor who I think kickstarted this whole thing, and it's Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon obviously can play very effective protagonists over there. We love him, like, and Footloose. All the kid wants to do is dance. But the antagonist, played by Jonathan Lithgow, says, "No, Jesus would not like them shuffling feet. Cannot, should not, will not." But Kevin Bacon has, especially in recent years, kind of with The Hollow Man and the two movies we saw just last week, playing a villain in both different types of villains. But Kevin Bacon can effectively play both sides of the aisle, and that's what sparked this entire list, was the old Kevin Bacon. Wow. Speaking of which, Mr. Plinkett's getting a lot of love just in my number 2 with the protagonist, antagonist, and Kevin Bacon.
That's right.
All right. So that's my number 2.
He is the ultimate archetype, at least in modern day.
Archetype?
Yeah, of the actor who can be the hero or the villain seamlessly.
You did follow it up with in modern day, because if he is the ultimate, then what would my number 1 be? The penultimate? No, it's the ultimate. Kevin Bacon on my list is the penultimate.
Number
right?
2 for me.
Wait, penultimate means second to last, right?
Correct.
Antepenultimate means third to last.
I believe so.
Can't we just say third instead of antepenultimate?
Yeah, I don't say that.
You will, starting soon.
Number 2. Feels like a threat. Number 2 for me actually came to me kind of late, and I'm like, yeah, this is an actor who has been canceled, and perhaps we can't talk about it as much.
Kevin should not be on your list.
Kevin Spacey.
Is he playing a good guy often enough to have him this high on your list there, Bray?
Yeah, well, he's played one of, if not the protagonist in American Beauty, K-Pax, Beyond the Sea, The Life of David Gale, and Outbreak. So he's played enough good guys.
Right.
And of course, Swim with Sharks as a bad guy, Superman Returns as Lex Luthor, and who can forget Seven and Horrible Bosses too.
And House of Cards, Brian.
I don't talk about TV here, but
Pay It Forward. Oh, one of the corniest, cheesiest, douche-inducing movies ever. Yes. Pay It Forward. All you got to do is do something nice, and then they'll do something nice, and it keeps going forward. Pay it forward. It's as simple as that. Just pay it forward.
We haven't talked about it in a while, but one of my favorite reviews, or I guess columns that the film critic Peter Travers did in Rolling Stone, was his end of the year best and worst list. And on his worst list, he had Pay It Forward as number 1. And he also had it at number 2 because he said, no, one slot is not enough for this piece of shit.
Rude. Hey, can we do that? Maybe top 5 bad sanctimonious movies? Because, I mean, that would be in the running. There's a lot of those movies that they come out, they think they're important. Problem with that list though is I sidestep a lot of those because I can see it in the trailer. Like this movie thinks it's,
Yeah.
and it's not getting there.
Top five bad important movies.
I think top five just bad sanctimonious movies, right? Just
Yeah,
like
sanctimonious means bad. So yeah,
no,
top five sanctimonious.
sanctimonious is like full of bullshit, like full of hot air. Like I got all
Yeah.
the answers. I remember Dr. Drew hated Cat Stevens because he found him to be sanctimonious. I'm like, yeah, well, maybe so, but his rhythm is great.
In my right songs.
All right, what's your international number two there, Mister
Number
Over?
two, international. I can't believe we're still number two, but of course, there's Daniel Day Lewis from England. He plays heroes in My Left Foot, Lash of the Mohicans, in The Name of the Father, The Boxer, and of course, he's fucking Abraham Lincoln. And no need to go over and over his villainous roles. Of course, Gangs of New York. And There Will Be Blood, although debatable, you could argue that he's the ultimate anti-hero, but I think he is the antagonist of the film.
I would I would say that he's most definitely the antagonist of the film.
Can I
Complex,
tell you, I never told this story. You want to hear a story and it's never been told?
well fleshed out. But yes, the antagonist. No, I'm good. So number one for me is what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, hey, yes, I do want to hear that momentarily. Let me take one brief pause here to do another quick little plug. It reminded me, we just got a another order for the $40 bundle pack
Oh,
of
while
merch.
we're recording?
And hey, if you're planning on coming and you're planning on getting that merch pack, do so. You do have a deadline there. I need to have that in by like end of this week, mid next week. So please get that in sooner than later because I'm placing the order probably like midweek next week. We need enough time to get it all printed and organized. So get those orders in now. Even if you haven't bought your ticket, not as important as buying your merch pack that you will pick up at the
Yeah,
show.
you can scalp tickets the day of.
Yes.
The merch bag, not so much.
Yeah. I'm wondering if like maybe we make them available like limited to send out to people who are at that who might be watching along live. And also this is not going to be, our show. The live show is just going to be its own thing. It's going to be its own list and it's going to live in the live show ether. It's not going to be like part of the feed, the RSS feed. So it won't be part of the podcast lineup. It's just going to live on its own as the live show. And should we make it available? So I just don't want to get stuck in like shipping out a bunch of merch. But like
No.
if you're gonna be at the $10 and above level, we can ship it out to you for like
Swing by my house, you come pick it up.
an extra $10. Maybe we do that.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah. If you want a merch pack and you're at that $10 above level, do that. You can just $50 will get you there. Look at that. Maybe I'll
How
make a
about
new.
this? If you buy a house that Anderson's selling, you get a free merch pack.
No, I don't like that at all. So yeah, let's do that. If you come on over and you're at the watch along level or above, and you're going to be checking in live, we will make that merch pack available to you for $50, and we'll send it off to you. If you're in the United States, no international, it's just a headache. Yet, well, maybe we'll end up doing that down the road, but not right now.
You
Headache.
really came around on that.
Yeah. All right. So
What's
cool.
what's
50
number
bucks.
one?
$50. Number one for me is a man named Mr. Nicholson. Jack Nicholson seems to have an evil streak that runs through him, and he plays evil and wicked so goddamn effectively. But he's also the guy that you absolutely love and you root for when cast in that. Thinking of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is a
Sure.
movie I grew up watching, which I probably shouldn't have been. But
He is also my U.S. number one, Jack Nicholson. I agree. We line up on this one.
so yeah, that's what I have to say. Jack Nicholson.
We should also point out that in The Shining, he is the protagonist and antagonist in the same movie.
Oh, he becomes the antagonist by the end of the movie. There's no mistaking that, Brian.
He does, but I'm saying when the movie opens for the first part, he's the everyman. He's our proxy. He's the audience's proxy to the film. He undergoes a transformative event in his life, i.e., possessed by the devil or whatever you want to say. But he is the protagonist and antagonist of that movie.
That is true. But I think a lot of antagonists start out as like the proxy, and not a lot, but that does happen. It's not like,
Right,
yeah.
but he does that. You're
Oh,
arguing against your own number one. He does it so effectively that you buy him fully
yes,
as the everyman, and then it's like, yeah, he's the villainous bad guy at the end.
that is a great point. Like if you cast that with somebody who is more known as Wicked or can't switch back and forth, then yeah, you're not going to be as effective because yeah, you wanted him to be your dad, and you're going to be in this crazy like hotel all by yourself. You need a strong dad father figure to make sure that everything's gonna be cool. Yeah,
But that's my US number one. I agree. Also, I tied him with my international number one, straight out of England. Can't believe he's not on your list. Hopefully, he's on your also man's. Ray Fiennes. Ray Fiennes plays a very traditional hero in The English Patient quiz show. He's sort of an everyman. The Avengers, the first Avengers, which flopped, but regardless, he was in it. And multiple James Bond movies as M, and of course, villains, iconic villains in Schindler's List, Red Dragon, in Bruges, The Menu, and of course, he's Voldemort to a whole generation of kids.
me included.
That's right. He's Voldemort to everyone, I guess.
I don't love Ray Fiennes. That's my problem. Is I just don't
Really?
yeah, it's not like I get excited if he's in a movie. He's good. He's serviceable, and he does that. He just bugs me, and I definitely don't like him as a nice guy. And he's in a lot of movies that put me to sleep. That's
Interesting.
that's the
I think it cemented it for me. It was in The Menu. I was like, this guy's a great villain. I
he
mean,
is.
of course, he had already been a great villain many times, but I was reminded.
It's just there's something about it, even in the Menu. Like there's something about his delivery, and it's kind of like
I thought it was great,
he's a snooze fest for me.
specifically his delivery.
I think also just having him say that his name is Rafe instead of Ralph Bug. I don't know if we got past
That part is problematic.
that. It
Do
bugs.
you
It really bugs.
do you have access to a listener list?
I believe so. Let's see. Listener top five put together by the Goos. So this week there were no clear winners. That's surprising. Maybe because the list was so fucking vast. It's
True.
tough. Four actors got multiple votes, and the list got here they are. Here's the multiple vote list. I would think that Goose, I would imagine there's only four. That's shocking. But these are the ones that stand out to the listeners, and that is Christian Bale. Also, he's on my also rans. I would imagine he's on yours as well. You got the Kevin Bacon, who was number two on my list. You got the Daniel Day-Lewis, who was number one on Brian's international, and then we got Al Pacino.
You're number two.
Oh, he's number two. And we got Al Pacino. Say Al Pacino, who is definitely worthy of the list. He's on my also ran as well as I imagine he's on yours.
Indeed.
There's just turns out there's a lot of good actors out there. A lot.
Unmentioned so far, Sam Rockwell, great as a hero and a villain.
Yep.
Hugh Grant recently has emerged as a great villain. Ben Kingsley maybe hasn't done the villain thing enough, but he's great as both. Michael Fassbender, Denzel Washington, Anthony Hopkins, of course, Christoph Waltz, Joaquin Phoenix, and thought of it this morning, but even though it's just a voiceover, making air quotes, James Earl Jones.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that one, but yeah.
No, he's Mufasa and he's Vader.
Yeah, but Mufasa's not a bad guy.
That's what I'm saying. He can be either one.
No, but he was bad once as Vader, I think.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, it's not on the list.
Major League is R-rated.
Yes.
Tom Berenger is on my list. That's why I brought that up.
Really?
Matt Mickelson, Nicholas Cage. Yeah, playing Barnes in Platoon.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit. Nicholas Cage, Phillips, Dafoe, Willem Dafoe, same Platoon. He plays good and bad pretty effectively.
Yep.
You think he'd only play bad, but no. Meryl Streep, I talked about her a little earlier. Bill Paxton, he's done both. He plays mostly buffoons, but he can play bad guys. Anthony Hopkins probably should have been on one of our lists because he is almost like the archetype. I think he might be the archetype for the modern day or still working. Kate Blanchett. Oh, you have Kate Blanchett on your list. Tim Roth came to me fairly late in the game. Robert De Niro, Bobby D. He can do both very effectively. Henry Fonda absolutely has played both, as well as Vincent D'Onofrio. Did you say Ben Kingsley? Did you
I
bring it?
did say Ben. Yes, Sir Ben.
What about Forrest Whitaker? Did we say Forrest Whitaker?
I did not.
I said Godzilla earlier, but that's a joke because he's not an actor or she. Remember, there was that big thing. Godzilla's a girl. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Glenn
she laid eggs in the Matthew Broderick one.
Glenn, oh, that's true. Glenn Close, usually good, but every now and again she's boiling bunnies. You got Tom Hardy over there. Tom Hardy can absolutely swing it both ways. Brian Cox can, as well as Ethan Hawke, Matt Dillon, Tom Cruise. And just that one, the Collateral. I think he's probably played kind of bad in others.
I
He's
think
not.
Tropic Thunder accounts.
Michael Shannon. No, he was a hero on that. Michael Shannon, Pierce Brosnan, and Christopher Walken. That's those are the ones that were like up for the running. I have another like extra list with even more that just fell off quickly because they only had like one and done. But a lot. Turns out there's a lot of people who have range that are working actors.
Well put. Are we gonna gamble and wrap this up?
Yes. So let's see how this goes. Results for last week. The gambling we gambled on Longlegs. I said 83. Brian said 75. Actual score with 192 reviews. The actual rotten score is 87. Sidney Crosby making Anderson the winner yet again. And this week we are gambling on Twisters. Twisters.
Twisters.
We got twins. In the original one, it was we got sisters. I don't know why the Twisters got to be girls. I mean, they're giant phallic symbols.
Well, they're sister twisters.
Sister twisters. Sister twisters.
I'm so in my own head now. I don't know where to go with this.
Twisties. Well, Brian, in the immortal words of Glenn Powell from Twisters, you don't face your fears.
Yeah.
You ride. So why don't you ride this?
Right.
Cheating your balls off right now out of desperation. Let me take a look.
I
at
wish.
You.
Don't look.
Look at you. Why are your eyes darting back and forth as though reading lines? What are you doing? All right, I got a number. You ready?
Same.
On 3?
Yep.
1, 2, 56.
58.
We're close. I said 56.
Oh shit. It's gonna be a goddamn it. If I lose by 2 points again.
I think there might be. The reason why I say that is I was on IMDb looking a couple days ago at there is a parent guide. God, I'm a fucking nerd. Can't believe I've become this. It's for good cause though, all right? Looking at the parent guide. We used to look at the parent guide to laugh, right? And now I'm actually using it as a tool.
Oh.
I am a tool. Wait, all right, hold on. Have you looked it up? Have you
become? No, I'm not.
Twisters RT. Rotten Tomatoes for Twisters. Bri.
What?
81%.
Oh, I mean, yeah, good for me.
Wait, is that? I don't know how to read this. What is that? 69 reviews, 81%. They're really forgiving of dumb movies that try to be dumb.
Thank God. My 58
You might actually be winning on the old Twisters. Look at this. Wait a minute. What is 27%? What is this? Oh, that's a different movie called The Twisters. There's a movie called The Twisters, now in theaters. What? Dozens of deadly tornadoes converge in the Midwest, merging into a mega twister set to obliterate everything for hundreds of miles. Why is it called The Twisters if it's all about
I want to say that
mega twist? Let me see. Well, that's the one we were gambling on, though, right? So that would make me in the lead.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, you can watch this at home right now for $3.99.
Is this a first-time contributor, Ryan Santangelo? I don't recognize the name.
I recognize the art as being very good.
The art's great. I might actually put this as my avatar on social media.
It's pretty good. You should
profile pic.
You should do that because I like that picture quite a bit.
That's not bad.
Almost heroic. Look at that jawline, Brian.
Heroes and villains. Schwarzenegger could up there.
I think it's a composite of me and you.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I think that the bottom half is like they took my jawline, the heroic part. I think so.
I'm gonna show this to Christy. She might find me attractive again.
You should get a hat and put on the hat, and then when yeah.
Thank you, Travis Berry, for assigning us the Guv'nor.
The Guv'nor.
You, Ryan Santangelo for really solid listener art. If that's your first time, great first effort. If not, forgive me. I'm not always great with names. Hope to see you, Travis Berry, Ryan Santangelo, and everyone at the live show August 4th. Thank you to Lovers and Poets. They were our feature artists this week. Check them out over at AndersonandBryan.com.
Hey, let me sign before we get too deep in.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Yes, so this week's listener assignment will be from Andrew Potts. He's on his fifth assignment, and he's assigning us 14 Peaks. Nothing is Impossible from 2021. The documentary, another documentary about climbers that he highly recommends. 14 Peaks, Nothing is Impossible from 2021.
All right, I'm in. Do you want to assign me a film because I lost the last gambling?
Yeah, watch. You gotta watch Twisters, right?
Ah, yes.
Yeah, get caught up. Watch Twister so that you can have some more scope when you come in and we both talk about Twisters on the next episode, so you can have a better idea.
Will do.
Right.
Instagram, Anderson and Bryan. TikTok, Anderson and Bryan. The Film Vault on Facebook and Twitter. The Film Vault podcast on YouTube. Thank you, all our Patreon listeners. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, Giovanni, Drake, killing us always on the social media. Mike Cole, the Goose, and Eric Kath. Thank you guys for your contributions. Check us out. Oh, watch along on Wednesday. Yeah, Idiocracy.
Idiocracy. That's gonna be a fun one.
Although this might have already, would this come out by then?
I think not for the Patreon people. So
Okay.
yeah, and if you'd like to level up, whether it's before we do Idiocracy, you can watch along with Idiocracy as well as the live show August 4th in real time. Also, if you just want to level up, come August, we'll give you another reminder. You'll be able to watch that live show as it happens live or catch up with it later, and you'll have access to all of the watch alongs we've done to this point. I can't imagine anyone wanted to do that and just a marathon, a bunch of our watch alongs, which aren't always hits. I should be honest. We always have a good time. We always read the comments and usually the listeners.
It's a fun community.
It is fun, and we usually have a few drinks. But what's not understood is that I think openly understood is that a lot of people tend to watch these things after the fact if they can't make it live. So you'll have access to all those. They're all it'll open up your Patreon page even further, and you'll have more to look at. So if you would like to add an extra $5 to gain access to the live show that will be shot professionally, if you can't make it to the actual event, an extra $5 a month on Patreon, and you can just do it for 1 month. We're not trying to squeeze. It's just the easiest way to keep track of that and make it easy so that we're not doing individual sales or making separate.
Accessible.
It's already there on the platform. It's already built in, so we can just do it quite easily that way. So yeah, that's the way to go about that. You can start by leveling up now and watching Idiocracy along with us this month. Next month we'll be watching Hundreds of Beavers, and yeah, I think we're getting we're picking smarter movies to go along. Some of them have been rough.
We're honing in, and
I don't like it when they're rough because then you got to lean on us to keep you engaged. And sometimes when they're Russian dystopian future movies, they're tough.
You thought that was dystopian? Hey, I got to run. You want to bring us home?
All right. And we do it for Van Gogh.